It's Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillos Dudes. Featuring Frank. And Jen.
What?
I don't know what's happening right now.
You have a tab open somewhere with the YouTube probably, and you're on the delay. Are you high? Yeah. Yeah. You have YouTube open somewhere probably.
What is happening? Maybe it's the phone?
You have YouTube. Yeah.
What a great start.
I mean, what would it be if we
haven't been public in so long with a live
We're not
stream.
used to this.
But it felt like the speaker was going and then the
Yeah.
phone was like it felt like the snowball had turned into
Right.
the thing and then
It's Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillos Dudes. Featuring Frank. And Jen.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Days. She is Jen.
Hello.
And that's what we call a false start in the trade as we are live here on our YouTube channel tonight, youtube.com/DillosDiz, as we record this episode for the Thursday podcast feed. We have tonight the hashtag Dillos Madness bracket reveal.
It's a very big night.
It happens every March.
Yes.
We do the hashtag Dillos Madness. We have 64 contenders in the Dillos. Is my favorite thing about Disney ever this year. March Madness Mania.
Born.
I didn't know if I would have the high pitch tonight. I tried to record that for the video you'll see in a little bit. I was like, oh, well, Frank was not great last week. He's still slowly recovering to get a full voice, and I can't hit the high notes right now.
Yeah, still in recovery mode, a little raspy. You weren't even sure how long you could maintain a voice for this episode.
Right. I was like, well, yeah. And when we discussed it, I was like, I don't know if I can do a full 60. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But should mention here, last week was like a hot mess. OPP, operating participant Paul, filled in essentially for your chat. A full hour there. There were some things, now that I'm thinking about it, because I had 3 things I wanted to discuss before we did the bracket reveal. And now I'm remembering that last week's episode has prompted me to at least answer like one question on my own.
Oh, okay.
Because there was discussion. You were talking about being operating participants in interventions at Epcot in the mid 2000s. And Paul was more or less talking about whether or not, like, if he could do it all again, would he do it? Right. So this is a conversation I have with myself all the time.
Yeah.
You know, especially when I get jealous of everyone in their multiple trips to Disney every year.
Right.
Because when I started in the character entertainment department, they were like, and you know, you can do this the rest of your life, even if you just come in for a week. You get a new ID. We put a new sticker on the ID, and then you got the ID for a year. You can. I was like, this is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me.
I can be a cast member forever.
Forever. And of course, it didn't turn out that way. It only turned out to be 4.5 years, and then another year where I still had the the sticker on the ID that I
Mm-hmm.
could still get into the parks. Regardless, I didn't do that, and I wasn't not employed as a cast member getting into the parks with my ID for a year. I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think it's longer. I think you have to like work 3 weeks or something to be
Mm-hmm.
like to go kind of in that annual range. So often though, I'm like, could I do it? Could I do a week
Right.
of 7 sets
Mm-hmm.
working with another character? A Goofy or a Tigger or a. I mean, the hard answer is no, not at my health right
I was
now
gonna
at this
say.
point in time. But what if I could? What if
Mm-hmm.
I could get in the shape I needed to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would I put myself through that in the middle of August or maybe at Christmas time? Could I do that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure. But often it's the jealousy that prompts that of like, can
Yeah.
I wish I still. What if I did that every year and just like I go to the Renaissance Festival every year, and it's like
Right.
I still do that every year. It's the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very loyal person.
It's part of your dating rules. Right.
And then that should have been one of the dating rules. I have that as a bonus to drop in the audio feed at some point.
Yeah.
But the long story short is I think about it a lot of just like, well, wouldn't it be fun to try it one
Yeah.
more time? Or just like I went to Mets fantasy camp, just to play ball one more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But how would it really go? Because when I was a kid, when I was in my 20s, I'm tangenting all over the place here.
Mm.
When I was in my 20s, I would sweat obviously
Yeah.
through that half hour or 25 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on the temperature.
Yeah.
I would sweat. But in my like normal life, I didn't sweat too
Yeah.
much. It wasn't like I walked around the park and was like sweating profusely. That wasn't me. Now it's 30 degrees. I'm walking the kid to school and I'm sweating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can only imagine the sweat that would
Yeah.
pour off of me
No.
should I spend a week working with some characters.
Yeah, I think, if you're, I don't think I would think of you going down that path. Like, could I go back as a cast member? I don't see you going there. I see you going, could I just work in the park somewhere for a little bit?
Right.
Not necessarily there. I mean, like if Citizens of Hollywood was back, I'm sure you would want to try to get in on that.
I mean, maybe. Yeah. I think I see it more as should I have just kept up what I was already doing year
Right,
after
yeah.
year after year after year? I don't think I'd go through the whole casting process again.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think, there was this thing they did one time where you could submit, and it was open to operating participants, which we felt lucky to do, but it was open to all cast members that if you wanted to spend like a week in another role, I think it's a week, I don't know, but in another role, where would you want to do that? And at that point in time, I said guest relations. I don't say that anymore because
right.
not in this day and age. Da, 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 da. But
Marketing.
back then, maybe. But I also used to see myself working at like the beach club. So, but that's maybe because of our guidance counselor pushing us towards hotel
And
management.
restaurant management. Yeah. Maybe we'll take that to the post show over at DillosDizResort.com after first DillosDizResort.com plug. We'll have a lot of plugs for DillosDizResort.com.
That's where we're normally live. If you miss us here live on YouTube, we're normally live over there.
We're normally live over on our Patreon at DillosDizResort.com. Did you watch The Mandalorian season 3, episode 1 yet?
No. I'm behind.
No.
See, what happens is I think winter break is over. Oh, good. I'll have some time during the day again.
Mhm.
And then the curveball of sick children come my way. And then that's it.
Yeah. So this morning, I was working earlier today, but I had a small window. And sometimes, I do the time check. How long is this episode? And, it's only 51 minutes. I can't do it.
Mhm.
36 minutes. I was like, I can get this episode in. Let's go.
Yeah.
I have a connecting thought here,
Oh.
and that is in Walt Disney World today. Mando and Grogu made their debut.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did see some photos.
And if I was not like I mean, I think it was more Boba Fett and Fennec last year in Disneyland. I went a little more crazy for,
Hmm.
but I find it curious. Earlier this week, our buddy Favreau, I like just calling him Favreau.
Sure.
When did we start doing that? Friends?
What?
We would just say Favreau.
Probably Friends, the Friends
Yeah.
days, but
You know,
or
I'm a
maybe
big-
just in line with your, BFF Annie. So your
That's
girl
my
Annie.
my girl Annie Hathaway, and but Favreau, I'm such a big fan of swingers, so I've been a fan of Favreau's for a very long time. So I just say Favreau all the time. And earlier this week, he made some curious statements, and one of the statements was that the first season or the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian took place over many years. Quote, many years. What does that mean? And then he said that that Grogu, I mean, no spoilers if you haven't watched The Mandalorian yet, but not the new one, just the season 1 and 2. That the time between season 2 and season 3, I'll leave it at that, is 2 years.
Interesting.
And my only reaction to reading that and then seeing the news today about the character appearances at Galaxy's Edge and Walt Disney World was, are you trying to get to the point that you can justify Mando and Grogu being in this timeline between episode 8 and episode 9? Because sure, if Mando is in his 20s at the beginning of The Mandalorian, which takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, he only has to be close to 50. He's got to be my age by the time he can be between episode 8 and episode 9. So it's feasible. I mean, they're not framing it that way. They're not trying to make storyline, timeline, continuity sense of it. But that was my thought. Was they're trying to get him towards being able to be in that world, which lends a lot to be designed. Because like any good drama series, I'm like, the lead character always has to die at the end. Like that's how,
right.
Isn't Don Draper going to throw himself off the building at the end of this series? No.
Spoiler: He doesn't. He doesn't.
Once another character committed, I guess more than one character committed suicide on that series. But once one of the main characters that I was like, oh, that's not happening now. He's not throwing himself off the building. No way.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, especially since that's the big conversation around Galaxy's Edge as a whole anyway, of like, how do you incorporate more characters and the time frames and all of it, and making it okay, because people lose their minds one way or another.
Right.
So I could see him kind of going, we got to make this okay and make it make sense. So let's just steer it in this direction, unless it was the idea all along. Who knows?
Well, and I don't want to get into it because but there's a lot of people out there that are not a fan of the sequel trilogy. That's not me. I'm a fan. But having Mandalorian involvement in the area I'm sure there's people out there tweeting as we speak going, I will never go to Galaxy's Edge as long as Rey and Kylo are walking.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
But that's just my thought of they're trying to get there so that there's a portion of the audience that will want to visit still. Yeah,
but it's true that you'd have to start really making sense, because Val is pointing out Rey's age would mess with that a little bit. You have to start thinking of all, like, I don't know.
Right. No, they can't walk it back.
Yeah.
They got to age Mando. They can't pull back on Kylo and Rey's. They can't bring them into, no, they already set that up.
Yeah.
So, do I have a problem if Mando is 55 or 60 walking around Galaxy's Edge in the current time in that timeline? Not really.
Speaking of going back to the parks once a year, I mean, there you go.
So I thought it was funny that I think last week they were like, oh, they're going to be making a special appearance in Paris. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then boom, by the way, he's here in Walt Disney World now. Send.
Yeah.
Tweet. Today is also the first day of the Flower and Garden Festival in Epcot that goes on for the next 4 months.
Huh?
that
Yeah.
starts in the winter and
Yeah.
ends in the summer.
It's weird. It's an end, and this is the one that has, in the last 2 years, has ended right before I go to Disney. So then there's that week break in between festivals, which is like the only week break that exists.
Right.
But have you been to the Flower Garden? We went to the Flower Garden, no?
I
Or
think
no?
when I went back, we must have at some point, but in 2021, I was there in May when it was Flower and Garden.
Right, that's
my day
right.
in Epcot. So that was
Yeah.
my, and I think my only beef with the 4 months is that I don't know why you got to cut Festival of the Arts short. Why not just do
Yeah.
3 more weeks of Festival of the Arts and then on the first day of spring, Flower and Garden?
Because that's the shortest one, right? Festival of the Arts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that because I feel like so many people have really grown to love it and make it
guess,
one of
yeah.
their favorites.
I guess you could argue the holidays is the festival, whatever it's called for the holidays
Oh, yeah,
is the shortest, but
but
it, compared to Food and Wine and Flower and Garden,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't think it should be at this point. The popularity of it is such that it shouldn't be that short.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and I like seeing the sights, but that's the other, I guess, the other part of it too. It's nice to look at, but I don't feel like it's a happening the same way Festival of the Arts or Food and Wine is a happening, or the holidays is a happening.
But I think they've all, like, I do feel like all of them seem like mini Food and Wines at this point, where they're still doing, treats and things to see and do. And so, but it's probably a more subdued version overall because, I mean, the topiaries are amazing, but it's not as, there's not as much of a variety as the other festivals, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's and again, I'm not trying to like knock it.
Yeah.
It's curious when comparing to the other 2 festivals.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know, Jen, but you and I
Mhm.
will be, what do we want to say? You don't want to say canceling, postponing our meetup that's happening on September 9th due to the money we're going to spend at 90s Con.
That's right.
On March the 18th. Joking, of course. The first ever and very official Dillos Diz Community Core meetup is happening September the 9th. Will be a hashtag always MGM. Disney's Hollywood Studios will be there. September 8th. And I'm saying it publicly. I think there'll be a little fun and games to be had for DillosDizResort.com guests. So games, and don't take it literally. I don't think I'll have a game. I don't think there'll be games. But
we might steal Mr. Snidillos, scavenger hunt. We could probably do that.
That's true. I guess that's fair. But last month when we talked
no one is liking your joke. No one is appreciating it. Listen, if we're not there, I hear there'll be cardboard cutouts of us, so I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Sometimes people think that's the equivalent of hanging out with me, so that's totally.
We're still doing it, everybody.
Yeah, it's okay. So last month we talked about getting our tickets to 90s Con.
Yeah.
And then at the time, they had made some announcements about guests. And then they said, and so then we joked because, goals, hashtag goals.
Yeah.
We were like, we need cast members from 90210 at 90s Con, but we might have to postpone the meetup because the money we're going to spend.
Yeah.
I'm getting the photo opportunity, the group photos, the selfies, the individual photos, all the things. No autographs. I don't think we'll go that far.
We didn't do it last year.
I mean, I still kick myself a little bit for not getting a Leah Thompson autograph photo, but it's neither here nor there. So then last week, they announced 90s, them being the 90s Con people.
Yes, that's for entertainment.
Thank you. They announced that Jenny Garth, Tori Spelling, Ian Ziering, how do you say his name? Is Ian, thank you. That they will all be at 90s Con.
Yes.
So immediately they're like, oh, that's right. Donna Martin graduates OPP. So right away, Jen sends like the gif of the alarm, the red siren of doom. And I'm like, oh no, here we go. And they're like, the individual group, the individual photos are on sale right now, but the group photo, we're just waiting on confirmation for 1 or 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
And Jen is like, you don't think they're getting Priestley? I was like, oh my God, the amount of money, involved. So yesterday, 90s Con, that's for entertainment, announces Jason Priestley and the group photo. Yeah. They dropped that. There's your 90210 t-shirt right there, Jen.
I might have to wear it to 90s Con. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, she's not gonna wear the merch. She's gonna wear the 902. I mean, she's gonna have to. But just take us through, Jen, because I was like, on the couch, face planted when the first round of news dropped about 90210. It was like it was a shot of adrenaline that I needed, honestly, at that point. But why don't you take us through your thoughts?
Yeah. They've been doing little teasers, stay tuned. At this time, we'll have some announcements. And let me just say, all of the people attending are awesome. And so many people I don't want to give anything away. I was talking to a friend of ours, perhaps recording with her. Perhaps that podcast will drop next week. I don't know. And we were discussing, and people are excited about different people being there because there's a lot of Charmed fans. There's a lot of Buffy fans, all this kind of stuff. So for us last year, we were so excited because all new Mickey Mouse Club members were like, what? We have to do this. They're going to be 2 hours from us. So then this year, we're still waiting on that announcement. But we keep going, oh my God, there's an announcement. Oh my God. So we keep waiting. And so one of these happened. And then all of a sudden, I open the app and I'm like, what? Because let's also say that Shannon Doherty has already been announced.
That's true. I forget that part of it.
As part of Charmed. So she's also there. Unclear as to whether there'll be a group photo including her or not. I'm not sure. But she will also be there. So we're like, oh my God, they have so many people from 90210. And then, so I did the alarm to you, and I did all the things, and we were like, this is happening. And then I'm like, they haven't announced group photos yet because they're waiting on these additional possible people. If they get Jason Priestley, and then we're like, we're going to have to run. So yesterday, literally, because I have been checking often on my phone, and literally I just because I have many accounts on Instagram, and I go over to Janillo, and I go over and I hit on Dillos Diz, and the first picture is just, and I was like, it was like an out of body experience. I must tell him now, and have to screenshot and send it to you, and all the things. And I'm like, I think my brain stopped working in that moment. And then I'm like, okay, we have to get ready. They're saying the group, photos still haven't been announced, so we got to keep watching for that. I'm away from my phone for, I had checked at 7:30 last night. At 7:59, you text me and go, they're up. The first session sold out. I'm going for the second session. We're like, well, how did, in a half an hour of me not looking at my phone, everything changed? So we do have a scheduled group photo with the cast of 90210 for session number 2 on the day that we are there. And we'll see what else comes from it, if there will be more group photos, how many selfies we'll get, all the things.
There's a lot going on.
In an unrelated news note, we're starting a GoFundMe just because. And then, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, and because there is the Saved by the Bell element in play.
Yes.
There's a lot. There's the Shannon Doherty element in play. That's true. We did. Jeffers is posting here that we react to 90s Con announcement the way resort guests react to community core meetup announcement. I mean,
that's very kind. First of all,
what I should have done was okay, when I announced the community core meetup announcement, I should say, all right, everyone, take out your phones and record yourselves as I make the following announcement, and maybe then we could have shared all that. It would have been like that Super Bowl Disney commercial.
Yeah, lost opportunity. That is. But yeah, we did not Dillo our feelings about this announcement.
No. It was pandemonium.
Yeah.
So
although we saw our faces, probably not. But internally, there is a lot of pandemonium.
Yeah. Internally, I can say it was not because it was story time when I saw it, bedtime for the kid, and I had to covertly purchase the photo in the middle of story time.
So funny.
So yeah, we're gonna be a little bankrupt, and then
Mhm.
replenishing. We'll be plugging the resort a lot leading up to the meetup in September. So tell your friends, tell everyone you know about Dillos Diz Resorts.com. Your escape to Disney nostalgia with $1 level, getting you to our one channel Discord. Of course, there it is. At both things right there, and we will be at that meetup September the 9th at Hollywood Studios. But if you want to hang out with us the day before too, DillosDizResort.com.
Yeah. Jeffers is asking, when is the photo sign up going up? I assume you mean with us. So we will be holding for the same price as that one would have to pay to have a photo with the cast of 90210. That is what we will be charging for a photo with both of us in it at the same time. Mr. Snidillo is coming down with one of his cameras to take the professional photos. So
That's right.
you know, well,
I mean, listen, if we got Papa Dillo, then we're charging the
well, yeah, because we have a whole idea for him set up. For a meet and greet.
The whole thing happening. It's not going to happen, but we can dream. We can dream.
Yes.
All right, so we covered we did Mandalorian, we did Flower and Garden, we did 90s Con, we did what was the thing I talked about at the top that I didn't expect to talk about? I talked about that as well, whatever that was, 20 minutes ago. Because
we're so excited about 90210. That's what's happening.
I mean, as soon as that happens, it just takes over our brain and our wallet is basically the two things that it takes over. But the reason why we're here today, right now, is for hashtag Dillos Madness 2023, also known as the Dillos Diz My Favorite Thing About Disney Ever This Year, March Madness Mania Pool. And most of you here in the chat right now know because you're guests of DillosDizResort.com. But in case you're listening from afar and we're over on the Facebooks and not on the YouTubes, if you have not seen the preview of the bracket, which only had one editing error by me, which I think, considering I was dead all last week, I take that as a win.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. We released a preview of the bracket over the weekend to guests at DillosDizResort.com. As it is March 1st, today is the official release. We will send the corrected copy to all the guests at DillosDizResort.com. But now it's open to the general public. General public, of course, can request their bracket via email at without the at, DillosDiz@gmail.com. Request your bracket here within the rules with some twists. I haven't even told Jen.
What?
Here we go. Part one here. The rules. The general public. Submit your personal picks by 11:59 Pacific, Wednesday, March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. A winner will be chosen at random to win a Disney gift card for DillosDizResort.com. Guests, submit what you think Jen and Frank would pick. Yes, resort guests can select 3 different brackets.
You can submit 3 different brackets. Select.
You can select and submit. You can select the PDF version or the Excel version or a combination of both.
Yeah.
And you then have 2 opportunities. If you submit a Frank version and a Jen version, we'll put it in the pile. We'll select one of those at random. No, it's the greatest point total will win a high value Disney gift card for resort guests only. So if you selected more of Jen, you got a higher point total, that will be the winner. 1 resort winner, 1 general public winner. So to recap, general public, make your favorite picks. Submit it. Resort guests can do the same. Make your favorite picks. Submit it. 1 chosen at random. Resort guests, you can have a Frank version. You can have a Jen version. Everyone will count up their points because every week we'll do a live where we select our picks. And then highest point total. Hopefully there's not a tie. You know that 8 people are going to be tied for first place. As I'm saying this now, we might have to do a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I have one possible change, maybe. I don't know.
No,
We can
change.
discuss it here. But
All right.
you're saying that the resort gets to submit the Frank and Jen versions. Is that
Right.
also by the 15th?
Correct. Also by March 15th. Everything is on the Ides of March.
So normally we don't really do our picks until we're recording the episodes each week,
Mm-hmm.
which means like we can't look at those submissions because we can't, we don't
Correct.
want to. Okay. All right. So we're
We
just
don't
going
wanna
to
be
keep them
skewed.
in the email. We'll just keep them over there. We
Right.
don't
We'll keep
look.
them in
Okay.
the email, and you should
Okay.
put I'll have an email
Yeah.
that details it out, what to
Okay.
do.
Okay.
We won't look at it so you're not skewed.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But we won't start making our picks on live streams until Thursday, March 16th. There will
Right.
not. Tomorrow is not an applicable Thursday over at the resort, and neither is next Thursday. I don't know why. I don't know where I'll be. I could be somewhere in the Sunshine State. But
kind of forgot about that.
So that is the details. You can start requesting today. Submit by the 15th. For the resort guests, 3 chances to win a Disney gift card, and that is what's happening there. There's not a lot of questions in the comment section, and I am delighted.
Okay. Maybe if the guests, for those of you that are guests of Dillos' Resort and you're in the chat, if you have any questions, please direct them to the Discord at this time.
Jen.
Yeah.
You have a video presentation courtesy of Dillo Studios.
Of course I do. I have to, I'm going to share my screen, everyone. So for those of you watching live, let's see, we got to make sure this happens. Share screen, Chrome tab, Dillo's Madness, share. Now, if I do this, okay. Can we see it better?
So
okay.
We debuted this last year.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillo put together a video for the hashtag Dillo's Madness of 2022. We didn't give him a lot of notice, but he managed to put a spectacular video together last year. This year, I was like, it's going to be done early. You got to have plenty of time.
No. And then on Monday, I was like, are we going live on Wednesday to do Dillo's Madness? We probably need a video, right? And then you were like, I don't think we need a video for that. I'm like, we need a video for the announcement. Off to Mr. Dillo. Hey, you have 48 hours. Can you make this happen?
Hey.
Hey.
Dr. Val is asking about my glass, courtesy of McDonald's. Remember the Magic, the 25th anniversary. This has made it back to me from Florida in the late 90s.
Oh, here,
it's the Epcot version. I'm always thrown off by the Sorcerer Mickey here. And then we will take it around the World Showcase. And often Mrs. Dillo is drinking out of this glass, so I don't get to drink out of it a lot. I had a feeling it would get some questions. So a little World Showcase, a little Spaceship Earth, and the Sorcerer Mickey in front. As if, they would never do this. They would never put a sorcerer's hat in front of Spaceship Earth. No, do it to the Chinese theater at the studios. Come on.
Oh, my goodness. All right. I'm going back to sharing the screen.
Sharing the screen with the video.
Yes.
There was something else I wanted to mention about the video.
Okay.
What was it? What was it about the video? Oh, I should talk about the theme of this year's.
Oh, yes.
Hashtag Dillo's Madness. In the past, we've done animatronics. We've done, each park, I think. I can't honestly remember. We did Disney Plus versus movies versus music versus whatever attractions one time.
Yeah.
So we've always mixed it up a little bit. So this year's hashtag Dillo's Madness, the 2023 hashtag Dillo's Madness. The Dillos is my favorite thing about Disney ever this year. March Madness Mania. Theme this year is, wait for it, thrills, chills, bills, Dillos. That's how I heard it in my head last month. And I was like, I'm going with it. With it. So thrills bracket will feature the thrills you can have at Walt Disney World. The chills are the places you can chill at Walt Disney World. The Bills are maybe, well, I should say the Chills too. There's a little DCL in there. There's a little cruise line stuff in the brackets this year. The Bills, maybe those things that cost a little bit more at Walt Disney World and on the Disney Cruise Line. And finally, the Dillos bracket, which is our kind of randomness. Now, I also have 3 rules here that I feel like they have been a tradition here. We haven't like really stated them formally, but I think there's 3 things that always come up about the Dillos Madness brackets, and one is chaos reigns. There's no rhyme or reason why we chose the things we chose, why we didn't choose the things we didn't choose, why that the like why is the grass green and the sky blue? Like none of that is just thrown together to create chaos, not for us, not for Jen and I, but for all of you.
Yes.
Because we know you're looking at some of these matchups and you're shaking your fist.
Yeah.
And you're getting angry.
Yeah.
And that's the energy we're trying to channel here.
Yeah. If you don't look at this list and go, what? Like, this doesn't even make sense. Correct. That's how it should be.
Right. That's what we're going for. Chaos reigns. Number 2, the seeds don't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Jen doesn't even know what the seeds are. We've done this like 4 or 5
I still don't understand. I don't know.
So there may be numbers next to some of these, and they may have seeds, but it doesn't mean like number 1 is the best and number 16 is the least best. It is more about the matchups, and again, twisting everyone a little bit, to quote Papa Dillo, and just twisting a little bit. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know.
Well, here we are.
And number 3, I know love for the AK. You know, it's tradition here that maybe the Animal Kingdom doesn't get the love it deserves here.
Do you have no AK on here? I don't even remember.
No, there's AK. There's AK on here.
Okay. I thought
Is it going to get the love it deserves? No.
No.
Is it all going to be eliminated in the first round? Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I can't help the audience at home.
Right. No, you can't. Don't sway them.
I don't want to sway you. I mean, I don't even know what some of the Animal Kingdom stuff is against. But when I see it, I'll be like, oh. Yeah. We can't tip our hand when we go through this video.
No. No, we can't really say how we feel. I think some people know us well enough, but maybe we'll surprise you. You never know. Mr. Snidillo, when I gave him the spreadsheet to work off of for this video, he immediately printed it up and did it. He's like, I have to experience it in order to do the video.
Right.
So I don't know if other people have completed it yet, or maybe they're waiting for the correction.
Maybe waiting for the corrected version.
But
they're like, what do you mean? There are 2 flight of passages in here. And I was like, what am I missing? I was like, oh, I took out Space Mountain.
And I looked at it too. And so we both missed it. Yeah. But
so Jen, let's get to it. As always, we'll try to keep up with the video with any commentary we have, but it starts with the intro here, courtesy of Mr. Snidillo at Snidillo Studios. Whenever you're ready, you may press play.
All right. I don't know if we'll hear the sound, but maybe.
Hashtag Dillos Madness 2023. Dillos is my favorite thing about Disney ever this year. March Madness Mania pool.
All right, let's get to it. It's the Thrills bracket. Cosmic Rewind, which you would think might be a favorite to take this whole thing from many people's brackets this year, versus the Mine Train, but maybe not Jen. Jen, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants a freebie on guessing my picks, I think this one might be it. Cosmic Rewind versus Mine Train. You know, although Mine Train's not like this uber favorite of mine, but you know, I think you probably know which way I'm going to go on this one.
We got Flight of Passage, which appeared twice in an early draft, versus Slinky Dog Dash. I think this is more challenging than some people think, at least on my end, because I have been on Flight of Passage twice. Jen?
I have been on Flight of Passage once, but I enjoyed it immensely. As I Slinky Dog Dash, they're both pretty solid rides. So, I mean, it's either way.
Will the AK get its love in this matchup? We'll see. Oh, it's Summit Summit Plummet versus Humunga Cowabunga, little water park action. Jen, have you been on either one?
No, I have not. So this will be a complete guess on either side.
I have been on both. Jen, will there ever be a day you go on one of those two sides?
No, there will not. Side note again, you can hear the music or you cannot.
I can hear the music.
You can hear the music. Okay.
I can hear the music. So we'll find out. Tower of Terror versus the Rock and Roller Coaster. Well, I mean, what's the deal with the refurbishment of the Rock and Roller Coaster? Is it happening? How long is it happening for? What's really going on? Tower of Terror, always a favorite. Jen, what do you think?
I mean, I think if you've listened to us long enough, you kind of know my feelings on both of these rides. So, but both, very theme-heavy rides. So, it's a match, I think.
I feel like the 60-second categories we did a couple weeks back is helping me with this. Space Mountain versus Mission Space. I think you could choose your color for Mission Space too. We'll take either color in that case. But Space Mountain here as the number 2 seed. That's a Frank favorite. Sometimes I do pick based on favoritism. Jen, when was the last time you went on Mission Space?
It's been a very long time. I think I lived there the last time I went on. It's 17, I don't know how many years now.
Thunder Mountain versus Test Track.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Mountain at night or Thunder Mountain during the day is the real question. I mean, the finale of Test Track is so good, but I think everything else that precedes it is up for debate.
Yes, for sure. Both Test Track at one point was pretty high on my list, but Thunder Mountain, I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one.
Rise of the Resistance, spelling error, Mr. Snidillo, versus Smuggler's Run. I think I have a very fascinating story about a friend of mine who was at Galaxy's Edge last week that I will not share here on the podcast. But, I think the experience of getting on the Falcon has, weighs a lot on my choices there. Expedition Everest versus the Skyliner. Now, will the AK love shine through here for the Dillos?
This will be interesting. This might, I don't know. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Make your guesses. Feel free to make your guesses.
Skyliner is a family favorite. As we move on to your family favorite, the Chills bracket here. People Mover versus Country Bear Jamboree. And I'm not going to lie, Country Bears is in here for Adam at the Mouse and More.
People Mover has been the ultimate winner for me in years past. So we'll have to see how far it goes, if it even goes past this stage in this round.
That's on how far it goes. Carousel of Progress versus Living with Yolanda. I also did this for Adam just so he could hurt over choosing between Carousel of Progress and I know it's going to be a tough choice for him. I think it's going to hurt him a little bit. And I'm curious to see what he will pick.
Yeah, I mean, but both are very chill. It's a good chill matchup right there.
So this is attractions. It's got lounges. It's got everything. Kilimanjaro Safari versus Festival of Lion King. I put Animal Kingdom versus Animal Kingdom in this one. And this is for some people who love the Animal Kingdom and wanted Festival of Lion King when I didn't put it in a bracket a couple of years ago. Well, now you get it against the Kilimanjaro Safari.
You must pick one AK, even if you are an AK hater.
The Nomad Lounge versus Wine Bar George. I'm just going to say, I really like Wine Bar George. I keep looking at a reservation for Wine Bar George in the future, and I'm like, I don't think Papa Dillo is going to enjoy Wine Bar George, but I would. Jen,
I would love to know what Drunk Stormtrooper would pick out of these two. I feel like both are big Drunk Stormtrooper stomping grounds.
That is true. Muppet Vision 3D versus the Baseline Tap House. This is so we can get angry at some people who pick Baseline Tap House over Muppet Vision 3D.
Hashtag save the Muppets. But, again, both chill things to do in the studios, and we enjoy both. Even though Baseline Tap House is a newer thing, we enjoy it.
Even though Jen won't eat the cheese sometimes. The Haunted Mansion versus Oga's Cantina. On this theme park Thursday that's coming up, they're going to release a teaser trailer for a Haunted Mansion film. But Haunted Mansion, full disclosure, I almost left it out of the bracket. I'm not gonna lie.
You couldn't. People would riot.
I know. I was like, I can't. It's a chills category. I kind of have to put it in there.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
This is a good one. Castaway Key versus Stormalong Bay. It is the history that we have with the Beach Club with a new family favorite, Castaway Key. So
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that one.
this is a bracket buster for anyone who's going to try to pick what we're going to pick out of this. They're not going to.
Oh man.
Trader Sam's versus Rose and Crown. Rose and Crown making the cut. I feel like I haven't had enough Rose and Crown in my life, quite honestly. I always walk by. I always want to kind of hang out. And it always looks too busy for me. And but then there's Trader Sam's.
But then back in my working days, I would go to the stand outside of Rose and Crown and get like a half and half or a black and tan or whatever they're called. A half yard of that.
Half a yard.
Yeah.
And now the Disney Dollars Bills category. Hoop-de-doo versus the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. We love Hoop-de-doo. We love it. We love the show. We love the fried chicken. We love the pictures of beer. But, when you get a couple of kids dressing up as princesses on a Disney cruise ship and they run into Cinderella, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique kind of takes on a different meaning.
Yes. That's a good one.
The very merry. This one's moving quicker than usual. Very Merry Christmas Party versus the Not So Scary Halloween Party. I think this would be a hard one for some picking for themselves, Jen.
Yeah. Well, people have big feelings on both holidays, so I'm interested to see which one gets more love overall.
And that can just be watching videos if you've never been. Topolino's versus California Grill. I was interested what people would pick of these two, which is why I put them against one another.
They both got really good views. I mean, both views are pretty good. I know you got a theme park view in one, but both views are pretty good.
I think people picking for themselves might go Topolino's because of the prefix lately at California Grill. You've been mentioning Gico a lot lately, like you're ready to go versus Be Our Guest. And really this comes down to the food is so good at Gico versus the theming is so good at Be Our Guest. Jen and we talk about wanting to go to Be Our Guest, but never being able to justify it. But we always want to go. We always put it in our reservation thing, and then we take it.
Yeah, I was in there with the quick serve version of it.
Yeah.
But,
the after hours parties, it seems to be one right after the other lately versus Savi's Workshop. I know everyone hasn't been to Savi's, but I'm sure you've seen some things out there. And I know you want a lightsaber. Don't kid yourselves.
I mean, either way, it's nighttime. Well, it's not nighttime. I think you should go to Savi's at night if you're going to do it. Just
totally. This one's going to be for Lexi down the line. Cinderella's Royal Table. I mean, someday. So I look at it as the dream to be.
Versus Jelly Rolls, though. I mean, I have personally been to both. So I have personal experiences in both locations.
We got Remy versus Paolo, a little DCL versus DCL. I've heard such a great thing. And, again, this is more for everyone else. You have been to both or just one?
No, I haven't been to Remy.
Yeah. We both went to Paolo on our Disney cruise last summer. So we have a recent experience in both the brunch and the dinner category. I don't have time for 3 hours at Remy right now.
I know.
Victoria and Albert's versus the Brown Derby. Brown Derby, Mrs. Dillo's favorite restaurant. Yeah.
It's a fact, everyone.
It's a fact. How did that start?
I don't know.
It is really funny.
I think she probably just asked about it. She heard it was good, and then we're like, oh, Mrs. Dillo really wants to go there. She loves it there. So.
And now for the final bracket, the Dillos bracket. It's Ohana versus Jock Lindsay's. Ohana, we had breakfast last summer. It was a renewed spark for Ohana. But Jock Lindsay's.
Jock Lindsay's, I always feel like, is the, meetup spot at this point, especially in recent years with this community. That's always my, hey, I'm going to Jock Lindsay's. Who's around?
I am planning something similar here in the future. Grand Fiesta Tour versus the Tomorrowland Speedway. It's, Jen, how far will the fumes go for you this year?
Oh, man, and both have excellent smells. I mean, these are both really big smells.
I think that's another one that if you're picking for myself or you're picking for Jen, you might struggle with this one.
Yes, they're both really the nostalgia hits with those smells.
Mitsukoshi versus the electrical water pageant. So basically, this is we love walking through that store, but the electrical water pageant is nostalgia, even with a different music soundtrack. Just looking at it on its own.
Yeah.
Classic.
Both are nostalgic and are just favorites of ours overall. So.
It's a Small World versus a Friendship boat ride. We were on that Friendship a lot last summer, and it was glorious. But there was one attraction that Papa Dillo requested for the entire family to go on, And that is It's a Small World.
Yes. Boat versus boat, and we love them both. Boats, boats, boats. That's for
Boats.
the How I Met Your Mother fans.
Beaches and Cream versus Casey's. I kind of went with that hamburgers and hot dogs matchup here.
Yeah.
Beaches and Cream is like up and down. Like, am I still going to go to the window and have a shake that isn't as good as the last one? Yes. Casey's has also been up and down a little bit lately. When was the last time you had Casey's?
I personally haven't had Casey's because of the gluten, and they don't have a gluten-free bun, but Mr. Snidillo has, and the kids have as well.
Dole Whip, Magic Kingdom only, please. We're not accepting any other offers.
Nope.
Versus the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. Not only a fan of everyone in the community, but a family favorite last summer as well.
Yes. And, Lewis was on that big screen at Monsters Laugh Floor, so I wonder if he'll pick that as well.
I think this will be a fun one. The Aqueduct versus Funnel Vision for different reasons. Love the thrill of Aqueduct, but that Funnel Vision, just someday when I have a lot of money, a whole week, just at Funnel Vision.
Just there. I know. I was talking about that for the next cruise. I'm like, I think we got to find Funnel Vision time. We got to do it, but I don't know. Then I don't want to. I don't know.
The spaceship, this one is going to hurt people a little bit, I think. The Spaceship Earth Beacons of Magic. And an Encanto one just debuted for the Flower and Garden Festival versus the returning Walt Disney World Railroad and all the nostalgia that comes with that.
Yes. That's a good matchup right there.
And that's going to do it for the bracket matchups and the thrills, chills, bills, Dillos. Hashtag Dillos Madness 2023 and the Dillos is my favorite thing about Disney ever this year. March Madness Mania Pool. So again, the rules are as follows for the general public. Submit your personal picks by 11:59 at Pacific. That's PM, Wednesday, March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. A winner will be chosen at random. These are your picks, your personal picks. We will choose one of those brackets at random to win a Disney gift card. And then for DillosDizResort.com guests, you can submit a Jen bracket. You can submit a Frank bracket. We will add up the points. We'll see who does the best. Maybe I'll have to create a tiebreaker along the way. And also submitting by 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Ides of March, and you'll have a chance to win a Disney gift card of greater denomination.
Exciting time of the year for the Dillos Madness.
Speaking of DillosDizResort.com, I was supposed to have a movie chat last week.
You made everyone watch a movie, and then you went and got sick.
I forced them to watch a movie that is rated pretty mediocre on the Rotten Tomatoes and the whole thing. M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water, but I love it so much, and I want to share my love of it with the resort guests. So that is postponed. That'll happen sometime this month, but also this month, the returning Improviser's Guide workshop. By more than one request. The people have been.
You got to give the people what they want.
They've been sidebarring me and saying, "When will we do an improv workshop?" So put a little something together. We'll be doing that over at DillosDizResort.com. Again, we're trying to get the people over to the resort because it's a fun place to be. $1 gets you $1 a month. One channel Discord. This type of crazy every week with a live stream of some kind. You get the whole thing. It's all available for you at DillosDizResort.com.
That's right.
Jen, any parting thoughts here as we move into the month of hashtag Dillos Madness?
Well, I'm very excited for all the things that you are bringing to Dillos Diz Resort this month. I didn't know there was the return of the Improviser's Guide.
Sure.
That's very exciting. I also wanted to mention that since we are live here on YouTube, which is kind of rare these days because we are normally live over at Dillos Diz Resort, we are, after this one, we are heading over to Dillos Diz Resort for a post show, which we also do for our guests in the quiet pool and balcony levels. So we will be doing that following this recording as well. If you're sitting here in the chat and watching, if you're listening on the podcast, those are just the different levels have a few different perks to them.
That's right. So we'll be heading over to DillosDizResort.com. This whole extravaganza will be dropping in the audio feed on Theme Park Thursday with Dillos Diz at all your favorite podcatchers. I'm going to take this opportunity to ask all those in the chat to click the like button, since this is a public live stream here this evening. Take your time now to click the like button
Yes.
prior to us moving over to DillosDizResort.com. Don't forget, you can request your bracket, DillosDiz@gmail.com. Until we see everyone over at the resort or back here on YouTube or at our email, DillosDiz@gmail.com. This has been a special edition hashtag Dillos Madness 2023 Thrills, Chills, Bills, Dillos. And the Dillos is my favorite thing about Disney ever this year. March Madness Mania.
Porn.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.